Having a person stalking you is perhaps the scariest thing in the world. You feel like all eyes are on you, watching your every move, your every breath. Here are some terrifying stalker stories. Number 1. It was the mid-80s and my mom used to clean homes for a living. Apart from referrals, she would often leave business cards at local shops or restaurants to get work. One day, she received a call from a middle-aged lady who requested her to clean her farmhouse in the suburbs. The first red flag was that the lady, Marge, didn't want to meet my mom face-to-face, but said she would leave the keys near the front door. My mom took the job because the pay was handsome and above what she would normally get. The next day, my mom went to the house and was unnerved by the long driveway and seemingly isolated house in the middle of a largely empty estate. Nevertheless, she found the keys under the doormat and headed in. She was about an hour into the cleaning when she heard the back door open and shut. She was suspicious, as Marge had informed her no one would be home at the time. She stood frozen there and peered out their window. There was no other car or vehicle on the property. Time passed and she heard nothing else, and she thought it was her imagination. So she headed down a hallway to the last 2 bedrooms she had to clean. She entered the master bedroom and saw black and white photos strewn all over the bed. As she inched closer, she realized all the pictures were of her. Some were taken at her home, and others at the homes my mom would regularly clean. My mom called the police from the house phone and got out of the house. The owner was investigated, but she kept claiming it was a break-in. We ended up moving to a new town and still don't know who the stalker was. Number 2. I had just moved into a new apartment. I was pretty broke and the area was shady, but I needed a place to live for the time being. The landlord was quite creepy from the start. He asked too many questions, and I would always run into him wherever I came home or went out. All this stopped after a few days, but I somehow felt I was being watched all the time, and that I kept misplacing things in my apartment. One day, I was on the phone with my boyfriend and headed downstairs to get the mail. I was still on the phone when I came up, but dropped my phone on the ground when I sat down. When I went to pick it up, my heart nearly leaped out of my chest, for there was a man under the sofa with his back toward me. I choked the urge to scream. Thinking quickly, I told my boyfriend I had dropped my phone and was heading for a shower. I went to the bedroom, which had an attached bath, closed the bedroom door, and turned on the shower. I climbed out of the fire escape, which was right outside my window, and called the police. They asked me to go to the front of the apartment and see if I could see anyone coming out. I crouched behind some cars in the opposite lane and waited with bated breath. Soon the police arrived and so did my boyfriend, and I handed them my keys. The police got a tall, thin man in cuffs out. It was my landlord. They told me he was standing outside my bathroom door with kitchen knives in his hand. Number 3. I was at my local grocery buying some veggies. A guy came up from behind me and asked me the time. I told him the time, but he continued to hang around. It was obvious that he was pretending to look at things in whatever aisle I was in. I felt super uncomfortable, and my 7th sense started tingling. So I grabbed whatever I had and went to the other side of the store. I wandered around there for a while, almost half an hour. Since I didn't see him anywhere, I checked out my things and headed to my car in the parking lot. Right as I climbed into the driver's seat, the same guy appeared out of nowhere, put his hand on the open door and stood in front of it, so I couldn't leave or close the door. He told me how beautiful I was and introduced himself. I was frozen in my seat and didn't know what to do. Thankfully, a cashier ran up from the store just then and told me I had forgotten to take a packet of chips I had checked out. The man ran off and I profusely thanked the cashier. The entire situation could have taken a horrible turn.